Chapter 17. Nature presents us with an infinite variety of attitudes, from gloominess to glorious sunshine. Our own moods, whether gloomy or bright, radiate to those around us. Unknown. Even on an expedition of adventure, sometimes there are days which can seem rather boring. This morning appears to be one of them. I'm very uncomfortable in my rubber wetsuit, sitting in an inflatable boat with the hot tropical sun of Papua New Guinea beating down on me. We are idling slowly through the water, looking for the mouth of a small cave in the reef below us. It is not much of a cave. It only goes back a few dozen feet. The mouth is very near the surface, where it is exposed to surge from wave action. That means the visibility will be poor, and I can look forward to being slammed regularly against the sharp rocks by abrupt onrushes of surf. Considering that we are here to film a small, almost blind fish that lives in the shallow cave does not add to my sense of adventure. There is a slight breeze coming off the bow of the Zodiac, so I'm looking in that direction to keep my face cool when a massive dorsal fin, 4 feet high, suddenly rises out of the water right in front of us. Orcas! Shouts Jean Michel. Stop the boats! Quickly donning a mask, he dunks his face into the water, with his flippered feet sticking into the air. Jean Michel looks a lot like a duck, bottom side up. A moment later, he pulls back into the Zodiac. There are three of them, he exclaims. Forget the blind fishy. We're going after the whales. My heart leaps with sudden anticipation, stripping off my scuba tank. Whales don't like a diver's bubbles. I take a deep breath and roll backwards into the warm water. The orcas immediately wheel back to investigate us small creatures with oddly bubbling heads. Realizing that we are pursuing one of the largest predators in the world is actually quite unnerving. Orcas are called killer whales because of their aggressive nature. Nothing in the water is safe when they are present and hungry. Killer whales eat almost anything, including seals, walruses, dolphins, other whales, and sharks. The only reason we can get in the water with them is because orcas are not known for purposefully attacking people. 10 feet beneath the Zodiac, the orcas circle for several minutes. At first, the four of us divers stay in a tight group for emotional security. But soon, the whales return to their business of hunting for food, which leaves us swimming awkwardly in their wakes, just trying to keep up. The big male, about 22 feet long, surprises a large manta ray cruising in the shelter of the coral reef. Instantly, the whale spurts forward at about 30 miles an hour. Manta ray twists and follows as it flees, but it doesn't have a chance. 3 seconds and 2 bites later, there is no trace of the ray left, just empty blue water with a scar of red where a 200-pound ray once was. Swimming just a dozen feet away, I'm stunned by the sudden fierceness of the attack. The bull orca hardly even notices me as he swims onward aggressively looking for more game. I subconsciously breathe a sigh of relief, then realize I'm holding my breath and am short on air. I begin to swim toward the surface for a much needed breath. Turning as I swim, I abruptly see a female orca hovering behind me. She's only 25 feet away and staring right at me. I freeze in place as I see her tail begin moving slowly and powerfully, propelling the massive animal right in my direction. Desperately, I want to shoot upward for the surface. Instead, I stare in fascination at the huge, approaching predator. There is an abrupt, loud clicking, popping noise as she directs a barrage of sound waves right at me. Orcas can see acoustically with sound, which means she is aware that my heart is beating wildly. I consciously try to slow my heart down, but it continues to race in pace with my growing alarm. I know if the killer whale decides to attack, there is nothing I can do. She is barely a dozen feet away when she makes a slow, deliberate turn to one side and drifts to a stop. We are only separated by 10 feet as I stare in awe at the wild intelligence regarding me. An orca's eye is actually quite small considering the size of the animal. I couldn't help wondering what she was thinking about. Did she know what humans are? Did she turn sideways to purposefully be less threatening? These thoughts are interrupted by my now urgent need for air. Unable to wait any longer, I quickly swim upwards for several much needed breaths. When I stick my head back into the water, the whale is gone. Feeling very unnerved, I decide to head back to the Zodiac for a short rest. What are you doing? Asks Jean Michel, who surfaces at the side of the small inflatable. Resting, I respond. Really? Jean Michel isn't convinced. You know, he continues as he climbs into the Zodiac, before the whales arrived, you were looking pretty bored. Yeah, I know, I answer, not sure where he's leading. I am never bored, he says with a grin. Life is just too adventurous. Who could know what is going to happen next? I realize that Jean Michel is saying something really important. Life is supposed to be exciting, unexpected, and mysterious. Every moment is a potential adventure waiting to unfold. Abruptly, I realize that a whale of an adventure is still somewhere beneath us. What am I doing up here? I think to myself. A large splash announces that Jean Michel is back in the water. On the surface, he readjusts his dive mask, then asks, Aren't you coming? Quickly standing, I leap over the side. Security is mostly a superstition. It does not exist in nature. Life is either a daring adventure or nothing. Helen Keller.